It is April 19th, 2013, and the city of Boston is in lockdown at noontime today as the manhunt for a second suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings continues. Evan Perez is in Washington, D.C. with the Wall Street Journal. He's joining us here with the latest. Evan, it has been quite a night and a morning, starting with a convenience store robbery last night, then the murder of an MIT security officer who was shot and killed around 10:30 p.m., a carjacking where a hostage was held for a short time, then released. They told the driver that they were the people who perpetrated the crime at the Boston Marathon, and then leading to shots fired over the morning with one of the suspects killed. We now believe these two are brothers of Chechnyan descent. Tell us the latest of what we know now and what is happening in the Boston area in Watertown, Massachusetts.
Well, you know, the focus of law enforcement right now is finding the second suspect. His name is Tamerlan Tsarnaev, and he is 19 years old. He's believed to be the 19-year-old. He's believed to be the brother who was seen dropping a bag that caused a second blast on Monday at near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. And so right now the focus is trying to find him. The focus is trying to figure out if there's any other accomplices or any other people who might have been involved in carrying out the attacks, and trying to make sure they understand, you know, where this all came from, what caused it, and so on.
So Tamerlan Tsarnaev, one of the two brothers of Chechnyan descent, 19 years old, still at large. He is the brother that people remember seeing wearing the white baseball cap in the photos that were released yesterday. Police do believe he is armed, extremely dangerous. Again, the city of Boston in what is almost an unprecedented lockdown, and people are being encouraged not to go outside, public transportation being shut down in many areas. And tell us what we know now about his older brother, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, 26 years old. He was apparently killed last night in a shootout with police.
Right. Tamerlan Tsarnaev apparently is his brother, and during the confrontation with police in Watertown, apparently he was killed. It's not clear whether or not if he was shooting back or whether there was an exchange of fire. He died early this morning, and the other brother got away on foot, it appears. Now police have put out alerts for a car that the other brother was possibly driving. At this moment, it just does not. We're not clear as to whether or not he has gotten away, or whether or not he's still hiding in the neighborhood in Watertown, where they have been scouring door to door.
This is obviously a very fluid situation at this point. We're still learning quite a bit about these brothers.
Right.
We're still learning about where the brother who is still alive, the younger one, may or may not be, if he is in the area where police are, or if he is somehow gotten out of that area. That story is still developing, so we want to emphasize that right now. We'll continue to bring you all the latest. I want to talk a little bit about the area of Boston and the shutdowns there, what in terms of flights and so forth. What has been the impact, as you know it right now, on this area and on the city of Boston?
Well, the city has virtually shut down, as you described it. I mean, the colleges have canceled classes. The subway system is shut down. The airport is still functioning with heightened security. Amtrak has had trains stopped to be searched and so on, to make sure the Canadian border is on alert just in case the suspect who is on the loose manages to get to the border. So pretty much the entire Northeast is looking for this 19-year-old who may be armed and dangerous, as you said.
Let's talk a little bit right now about what President Obama has said so far and where he has been with the Vice President. Have they been meeting today to talk about this? Have they issued any official statements?
Well, this morning about 9:45, Attorney General Eric Holder and the Director of the FBI, Bob Mueller, went over to the White House. They had an hour-long meeting that began about 9:45 with all their top national security officials. Among the things they're trying to figure out is whether there's any foreign direction for this. Was this something that these two brothers came up with on their own? Were they radicalized and decided to do this on their own? Or was this something that was directed by a foreign terrorist group? Those are the questions that are being asked. It's known that the family that these young men came into the country in the early 2000s into the U.S. It appears they came as refugees, so that's also being checked out. Anything that could be learned about the circumstances into which they were allowed into the country.
And speaking of the family, hearing some dramatic testimony from a man who claims to be the uncle of these young men. Ruslan Tsarnaev,
Right.
he was saying this morning very, very emotional about what happened, saying shame on the family. They have brought shame on the family. They have brought shame on their
Correct.
entire ethnicity, pleading with them to turn themselves in. He even called them losers at one point, but said he hadn't seen them in years. Do you know whether or not his identity, that this man has been confirmed for sure to be the uncle?
It's believed that he is a relative. The FBI went over there this morning and interviewed him for several hours. It's believed that he is indeed a relative and that he is, but as he said, he hasn't seen them in a while. Doesn't appear that he has been in very recent touch with them. And he also confirmed some of the details of when the family came to the United States in the early 2000s.
Evan, we have been seeing different dramatic footage come out of the events last night. People hearing gunshots, people being in lockdown, people filming their own footage out of windows last night, being basically holed up in their houses and told to stay there or told to stay in the basements.
Right.
Some people locally even believed to have had some perhaps encounters with one of the bombing suspects. One of our reporters shot this with the owner of Junior's Auto Body, who described what was a rather potentially unusual encounter with the bombing suspect on Tuesday. These brothers were apparently regular customers of his. Let's take a look.
I noticed that he was biting his nails and shaking his body and if I knew, man.
Which one of the two?
The youngest one.
What did he
And
say?
did he have a car here?
Yeah, he dropped a car, which he told me at the beginning that was his girlfriend's car. And when he came, on Tuesday, I told him the car wasn't done, and he said, I need the car right now. I said the car has no parts, and he never came to my, to my thoughts there.
Yeah, and Evan, obviously everyone watching this eager to sort of flesh out who these brothers are, what might have potentially motivated them to conduct these bombings, some of what we're knowing. And again, everything's still fluid, but reportedly they had a family. Their father was apparently a very talented car mechanic who had aspired to open his own garage. He had never mastered English, though, that well, and that he may have been stricken with brain cancer at one point in time and returned to Germany. But the people describing them, you hear their classmates saying they were good students, that the older brother, the one who has died, had aspired to be a professional boxer, that the younger one, who is the one still at large, had a lot of friends. Anything else you're hearing in terms of the developments of these characters as we try again to understand these two young men who have brought such devastation on Boston and, of course, the United States as a whole?
Well, online you're seeing already some of the younger brother, Joker's friends, sort of cry out. Some of them can't believe that it is him. Some of them are just outraged that this could possibly have happened. The older brother, as you described, he appears to have been an aspiring boxer. There was a couple of profiles done of him. In one of them, he describes that essentially he doesn't have any friends in America. He doesn't understand them. And it does appear that he perhaps was more of a mysterious figure than the younger brother. The younger brother definitely had a much wider net of friends. And some of them are reacting very publicly, again with just disbelief today as they learn more about him and what the federal government says they did on last Monday.
All right, Evan Perez in Washington, D.C., thank you for bringing us up to speed. We'll continue to follow this developing story of the manhunt for one of two brothers believed who are suspects in the Boston Marathon bombing case. Evan, thanks for being with us. We'll have our continuing coverage on WSJ.com. You can follow that as well as WSJ Live. I'm Wendy Bounds. Thanks for being with us.